Good day, everybody, and welcome to our podcast produced by AGRA for the people around Africa and beyond. Our podcast today is Banter with Kalibata. Dr. Kalibata, who is the president of AGRA, an organization that focuses on uplifting smallholder farmers in Africa. Today, we have Dr. Agnes Kalibata and Aisha Langat, one of our very, very youth leaders in business in Kenya, which is in Africa. And we're going to engage in a very, very interesting conversation about agribusiness, agriculture, food systems, what are our challenges. We get views from Dr. Kalibata, who is very experienced in that, and of course, somebody who is on the ground running a business and doing it very, very well. So without further ado, we will get into that. So, Dr. Kalibata, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm enjoying a cup of coffee. So life couldn't be better.
Okay. And I hope that is grown by one of our smallholder farmers, the coffee.
From which country do you want me to say?
Well, some of us will watch for Rwanda, others will watch for Kenya, Ethiopia, and the like. But Dr. Kalibata, for people who don't know as much as they should about you, tell us about yourself, your work, and what inspires you to do what it is that you do.
Like you said, my name is Agnes Kalibata. I'm the president of AGRA. I've been working here for quite some time now, working with you all, trying to move this agricultural sector that most of our communities find themselves in from a struggle, right? Mm-hmm. That's really the AGRA mantra, moving the agricultural sector from a struggle to survive to a sector that thrives for the people that are in it. So that's really the bottom line here. How can we get the smallholder farmers that are basically feeding themselves and look at it as a way of feeding themselves to be part of the business environment in the agricultural sector? This is one of the fastest growing sectors on this continent. Today it's about $300 billion. If we do a good job, which we plan to do, working together, it could be $1 trillion in the next 6 years by 2030. It's already $10 trillion globally. This is a sector that is about $10 trillion. And for me, the challenge that I see and the reason and what I keep hoping and why I keep thinking, waking up one day and thinking that things will be different is because this is the biggest opportunity we have to transform farmers' livelihoods and lives. Because people eat out there, and most people that can afford food don't grow it. So if we can get smallholder farmers to be part of feeding these people, feeding us as a community that works here at AGRA, feeding Nairobi, feeding African cities, feeding Africa, then we can deal with poverty. So that's what I find interesting about the work that we do, and the hope that one day we will actually be able to crack this challenge. Yeah.
Great. How did you get into this? Because you just didn't wake up one day and say, I want to help smallholder farmers. What inspired you? What got you here, Dr. Kalibata?
So I don't do this work to help smallholder farmers. No. And I don't think any of us should look at ourselves as we do this work to help smallholder farmers. Ensuring that a part of us, our continent, some of us that are not living the fullness of their lives, it's in as much your interest and my interest as it is in the interest of the farmers. Yeah. So whatever we do on this continent, if you're in ICT and tech, if you're in health and you run a business, if you want a population of people that can be part of your market. You don't want a population of people that is struggling.
Yeah.
So we are not in this because we're helping smallholder farmers. I wanted to deal with that word help. No. If actually we are helping ourselves, because we need to be part of, these are our people, these are your brothers and sisters, these are my brothers and sisters, these are our relatives. Why should they live in poverty when we know what needs to be done?
Yeah.
So we are not helping them, we are helping ourselves, because we need them to be part of the mainstream of the economies that we are part of. So that's number one. Number two, I'm interested in this because I know it's possible. We are not the first continent that is working and seeing the ag sector as a sector that can uplift lives and livelihoods. We're actually the last continent to recognize that. At the beginning of the 19th century, the rest of the world had an agricultural revolution, and that's what propelled them forward. In the last 30 to 50 years, we've seen Asia take take the same trajectory that we've seen developed countries take. Different ways of doing business, but achieving exactly the same results. Getting massive amounts of people out of poverty using the agricultural sector. China has done it, moved 441 million people in a period of one generation, 25 years. And most of Southeast Asia has done it as well. So my hope and my interest in this sector comes from recognizing that actually we are in the midst of the biggest opportunity of our lives, and we just keep failing to harness it so that it can work for us, for our people, and for the economies of this continent.
Great.
But yes, I know what you want me to say. I come from a farming background. I don't find that necessarily exciting, but I tell you what I like about it.
Yes.
And why I'm always proud to say that I come from a farming background. It doesn't get any more difficult for the young people out there, for the farmers out there, for anybody who wants to see their daughter grow up to be someone. It doesn't get any more difficult than my life was. Or for a young person struggling to get out of whatever situation they are in, and they're saying, how do I get out of this? It doesn't get any more difficult. But people can actually get out of that. And I did work from a smallholder perspective and really be who I am now. But again, I say it because I think about all the children, because there's so many children out there that are in that type of landscape and environment. And I keep saying there was no miracle around me except being pushed forward at the right points and right points in time. And that's what I would love to do for all the kids that are out there, for all the parents that are trying to send their children to school. How do we give them that hand up? Meaning, how do we ensure that what they are doing, the agricultural sector they work in, can be part of moving their communities and their children forward, so that the next generation is going to be asked, oh yeah, you come from a smallholder background. Yeah, I want that to be the conversation of the next generation.
That is a positive, should be a positive thing.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Not because it's fancy or sexy to come from a smallholder background, no, but because it's actually possible to come out of that. Because we've empowered those parents to be able to support their children and be able to propel them forward. And just look around you. There are quite a number that have similar backgrounds as I do. But how do we make it not the exception and make sure that every parent has the ability to do that for their child? Yeah. Especially because we have so many young parents these days. All young people that we have.
They form the bigger population, or they are forming that. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Kalibata. You've been waiting patiently and listening to Dr. Kalibata speaking. And she spoke about, being part and seeing a big opportunity. I'm going to ask you your thoughts about that. And of course, if you could just start us off, Aisha, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Sulma or Salma? Sulma. Tell us about Sulma, how you got there, a bit about yourself. And of course, do you see yourself as someone who is capturing the opportunity that Dr. Kalibata just told us about? Is that inspiration still there? We'll talk about the challenges, but then if you could just tell us just a bit about that.
I can say yes, there's a huge opportunity in business. When I was starting up, of course, after university, I did agriculture economics. And when I came out, I was like any other youth, and I wanted to be employed. And I looked at the employment opportunities that are around. But after sending several CVs, and you're still home, and I come also from a background of smallholder farmers, and I started farming when I was also in high school. And this is part of the background that we've grown up with. I got into family business, and in the family business, there's an opportunity for agriculture. and I started this enterprise as a support to the family business and of taking some of the crops that were being planted by our clients. The family business was a real estate business. So yes, there's a lot of opportunities in agriculture.
So you stole some clients.
I just made them make money now.
The opportunity was there, so you took it up.
Yes, the opportunity was there. And yes, there's huge opportunities. Sulma Whole Foods is a company that want to increase productivity by offering input credit, inputs to smallholder farmers, and also link them to markets. And through this, we also leverage technology to offer capacity building with the need to increase productivity.
So for me, if I may,
sure.
For me, I mean, right there, you're my hero because we creating a business in the agriculture sector is tough, right? It's tough, but you decided that that's where you wanted to create business. What made you think you would be able to do that? What made you feel like this is the right environment you need to be in as a young person? I mean, number one. Number two, most young people also think that, why would I want to be associated with the agriculture sector? It's almost like, why would you go there? So tell me, what gave you the interest, number one? Number two, why did you think you would be successful?
When I was starting, I didn't think I was successful at all. But I saw the opportunity. I saw the problem that needed to be solved. I saw there was a need, and I wanted to be part of that need. And as I said, during that period after university, I was really looking for employment. So when I saw this opportunity to make money, I was very interested and decided, let me try it out as I keep on sending my CV.
Okay, but again, that is really, really powerful, the need. So imagine we are here talking about why the agriculture system is not working and the agriculture sector is not working. So imagine each of us as a young people, imagine everybody went out there with that in mind. Let me find the gap. Let me find the need, and I'm the person to do that. Because think about it. Every opportunity to make money comes from that, from the ability to provide a service to someone that needs that. The need is the bottom line. What's the need? And how do we help fill that? So I think a lot of times we miss that, or we feel like it's someone else's responsibility, or we feel like that's too complicated. But the need, I guess, is really the answer.
Yeah, but you said you were trying it. I was still sending out your CV, balancing it out. What made you stay? And of course, after that, I'll ask you, so what else has been the challenge? And then I will ask Dr. Kalibata what she has done in her line to see whether she has helped with those challenges as a leader in food systems.
What made me stay is after seeing the need and finding opportunities to address the need, I started seeing myself as a leader. As a leader in the youth environment that can help create employment. Because in my small outfit, I started creating employment and people started depending on my enterprise. So by the time I was not thinking anymore of CVs, I already had young people that I have employed and agronomists under me that it was really amazing to me, thinking now I have this whole lot that is dependent on me, and if I decide now to close my startup, I will not. They will not have employment anymore. And during that process of growth, you would see there's also a gap where women are not able to access certain necessities. And honestly, I am here because I would want to bring that change in the food system and for more youths to see opportunities within the food system and to exploit. And as Dr. Ari has said, there's opportunity in agribusiness, and we are encouraging more youths to exploit and to be able to create their own employment. Right now in our country, Kenya, there's no employment.
It's very low.
Yeah. So if 1, 2, 3 people can come together as youth and create more employment for others and become as entrepreneurial as it can be, we will create as many employment as possible.
Yeah, I'll take you back to when you said women and necessities. They have certain things they don't know. What are those? What are you referring to?
My business model is we contract farmers and especially women, they don't access input credit. But since we come with contracting farmers, we can assure financial institution of offtake. So we've partnered with financial institutions. And right now, our farmers can get input credit with a contract. That is, after leasing a land, the contract you get. From our history, credit is mostly given to the holder of the land as collateral. But and now we've created certain products that women can access financial credit that they can farm the land that they've even leased. Yes.
Okay, great.
So I have a question for you, if I may. I know 2 people, very wealthy people. And each of them, it's interesting that they had the same story but at different times. Each of them told me they started by, I think one of them, the dad had given them $100 to go to a game or something like that. Then another one told me his dad had given, it all started with some $100 somewhere their dad gave them. And it's interesting that they were at university and they had these old cars, and each of them at different times, different cities, different locations in the world bought sneakers, right? Bought sneakers, and we started with, I think it must have started with maybe 3 or 2 pairs. But we're selling sneakers in the boots of their car. Again, the need being that they live in a school community, probably a university community, and most young people are fascinated, can't get enough sneakers in their whatever, in their wardrobes. So, and again, the need, these young people took advantage of that, and today they are some of the richest people, richest you can find in the world. What did it for you? What was that first initial thing that got you moving? What was that first $100? Because it all starts somewhere. Nothing comes from nothing. How did it start?
I think for me it is a friend who told me, you can supply with the farmers that we were already having and asking for market. You can supply Naivas supermarket. And I was like, you mean? They say they are in need of onions. That time we were doing onions. And I went to Naivas and I met their chief market officer, and I said I want to supply onions. And the person asked me, young girl, do you know what you want, what you're saying? I said, yes, I would really want to supply you onions. I have farmers who are working so hard and they're looking for market, and I also would want to supply onions. And that person, interesting, let me give you this number. You go downstairs and talk to that person. So I went downstairs and that person was like, do you have a company? I was like, no, I do not have a company, but I have onions and I have farmers. So I think that was what started my business. That one person who believed in me, and they told me immediately, please bring a sample because they needed it.
So let me just hold it right there. So did you know this person? Did anybody introduce you? And the chief, which young girl straight out of university, working with farmers? I can imagine you already have an association of farmers, working with farmers and thinking farming environment. Which young girl thinks I should go to see the chief marketing officer of Naiva? So how did you get that appointment?
I actually I talked to my friend. One of my friends, they do printing. She's in the printing business and she's been supplying them. So she told me, you can go to Naivas and supply them. I told them, no, I don't know. And then they told me, just when you go ask for
So and so.
it's called Willy Kimani, ask for Willy Kimani. And I was like, okay, let me go and ask for Willy Kimani. When I got there, I said, Willy Kimani, can I see you? I do this and this and this. I've been working with farmers in Laikipia, and these farmers now, we have produce that are in excess, and we are almost having post-harvest losses. Can I supply you? I said, okay, you can okay, it was really unpleasant. So who sent you? I sent one of my friends, said, I can supply you. And I think it was a friend referral. And getting this information from a friend, maybe that.
So basically, there was no miracle. It was you believing that you can do it, and you walked in there. You were not shy to walk in there. You walked in there with a clear vision and a clear case. You're like, I can do this. I can supply you this. You didn't have a budget. You didn't have money. You just had the farmers you're working with, and the fact that those farmers needed a market. So I imagine you started by aggregating their produce, and your first pay was probably what you used to pay them back.
I did not even have the money to buy from them. They were telling me.
So they loaned you their produce because it would have gone to waste anyway, right?
Yes.
So they loaned you their produce, and you took it to Naivas, and then you came back and paid them. So really, I think for me, there's a huge lesson right there. Again, for young people, you guys have so much going for you. We have cities all around us. We have people doing all sorts, expecting and eating all sorts of things that we weren't using before. So let me put it differently. Our cities are growing very fast. And none of these people in these cities has a farm or a garden or anything. They depend on how we bring food to them. And you understanding that there's a whole lot of farmers out there that are also struggling with the market. That is really the connection that they needed. They needed you to connect the dots. And that's how young people need to think, to connect the dots of our world, right?
Yes.
Connect the dot with the farmer. Connect the dot with the financial institution because you know what needs to get done. So it's not an excuse to say that our farmers didn't go to school or whatever. Maybe they didn't need to go to school. Now they have you to do the dot connection. So I really think that if young people thought about themselves like that, also really took it upon themselves to say, you know what, I can do this. I guess that's really the most.
Yeah.
There's so many young people that don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
I can agree with you. I feel like it was solely that like believing in yourself and walking in doors that you never thought would open for you. And you find there's also a need there.
But how will you know unless you try?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you. Great conversation. So, you gotten into this business, you walked into Naivas. Thank God for the Willy Kimanis of this world.
Yes.
And that helped you to take off. But you also mentioned along the way, there have been issues to do with the ready market, the financing and everything. And I think that's what many young agripreneurs, even business people face, and then they fall off the grid. So which leads me to my question, Dr. Kalibata. These challenges are these young people, they can have the drive, they can have the belief in themselves, but they don't have finance, they don't have this, they can't keep walking into the banks and everything. What do you think the solutions are? Even in your role and other leaders in this world, what do we need to do to push the youth further so that they can succeed and it's, dare I say, easier or better for them to sustain themselves in this business and feed the world? Yeah.
That's the $1 million question. Because the reason I say it's the $1 million question is because there's no one answer. There's no silver bullet. There's nothing that you're going to do and just shoot someone out there and get them to land in a place where you want them to land. There are many challenges around land, and I'm glad that you're working with people who are hiring land. You don't have to. So you're basically proving the point that one doesn't have to own land. You can go out there, hire land that is owned by other people that are not using it, and gain a livelihood. So your story just proves that there are ways to go around some of these challenges. The other is financial inclusion, like we talked about it, and that's exactly what you're trying to solve for these farmers. I mean, AGRA has a number of programs that try to address many of those challenges, right? We've focused on systemic issues, right? Things that help address some of the oldest systems challenges that a farmer anywhere would face. So for example, how do you access improved seed so that you can, or how do you ensure that your farmers have the right seed? Because in selling onions, there are two things that you need to do. You need to have the right quality, and the right quality means that you started with the right variety, because some onions are good for salads, some onions are good for cooking, and different markets need different things. So that seed, starting with the right variety, is important. What system gives you that? So behind the scenes are institutions that try to make sure that that system is working, that you can find the right variety when you need it. AGRA has been investing a lot in ensuring that that is working, that a system that can ensure that smallholder farmers in villages at the nearest place can access the right type of seed. When I was growing up, people probably walked 60 kilometers or more, or they never actually just saw seed. Today, within here in Kenya, you just go to the next kiosk, there will be someone selling seed. The other is financial, like I was saying, financial inclusion, and trying to understand what are the reasons, what are the challenges that prevent banks from being interested in working with the agriculture sector and with young people. Yes, the level of loaning to the agriculture sector is extremely low, but it has moved. In different markets, it has moved from what it used to be. And the reason it moves is because there are policies that are being put in place. Governments are trying very hard to understand how to move banks forward and how to support them. And AGRA does have a number of products in that space to help also move that ecosystem forward and make sure that banks are educated around the place and role of the agriculture sector, around the place and role of people like you who are able to take on a certain degree of risk, because you're taking on a certain degree of risk by bringing in farmers and by coming to them when you don't have that level of financing. So how do we educate them and make sure that they understand that actually they need to be part of this ecosystem? So these things don't happen by accident. Someone has to be working to make sure that the big guys, the banks, are understanding that they have to commit. NIVAS has to appreciate that being able to be part of this ecosystem is important. Not just buying from the one big company that is able to supply because it is easy to work with one big company, but to work with a young woman. That's something that starts looking good in their books. So we do all that work in terms of really working behind the scenes to ensure that the ecosystem is working, that the ecosystem is being ready to receive and work with young people. So now we have a young program where we work with young people on a number of fronts, on supporting the agricultural ecosystem to create jobs for young people, on supporting young people like yourself and making sure that we profile you and give you voice so that you can talk about some of the challenges that you see, but also in empowering young people and giving them the skills and sometimes the financial resources, if need be, that they need to be able to get started, or hand-holding them to that bank that will give them the financial resources they are looking for. So there are a number of programs, but I think the most important of all those things that I'm saying, the most important of them all is the skills capability, the ability to be able to have the right level of skills to allow you to discern the needs of the sector and be part of the sector, to allow you to build a network that can support you, to allow you to connect the dots. We've created, as a result of that, we've actually ended up creating a network where we encourage young leaders from the private sector and young leaders from the public sector to come together. We call it CALA, Center for Africa's Leaders in Agriculture. And I imagine you've been a member. Yes. And CALA, I would love to hear your feedback. Yeah. But CALA, the whole idea of CALA is, I do believe in the private sector, you are all being connected. It's easier to connect as business to business. It's more difficult to connect as business to government. It's more difficult. And we are creating this space so that we work with public bureaucrats, government officials that have the power to take decisions in the right space and right time, but sometimes don't. And we wanted them to have a sense of how that impacts you and your businesses. So that's a space we want to continue growing. So again, in a nutshell, we are really behind the scenes trying to push the ecosystem to move so that it can be sustainable for not just you, but for millions of young people like you that want to be able to be part of working with the agriculture sector.
Great. Financial, access to finance, seeds, knowledge. Do you feel supported, Aisha?
Yes, I feel supported. And I can say for sure, knowledge is freedom. And when you give someone knowledge, they can see the need, they can see the problems in the society, and they can solve them. Being part of Kala Cohort 3, I'm currently there. It has really developed my leadership skill as a person in business, and especially as a woman, and knowing how to see projects and problems that can be scalable. And scalable in such a way that we are bringing real life solutions to smallholder farmers. It is really eye-opening, and yes, I feel very supported. And as AGRA has come before us and created platform for the youth, we really shouldn't say that the opportunities are not there. They are there.
But what else? Because that's AGRA. AGRA is doing ABCD. You're part of it, but in the broader span of things, what else can be done from where you sit?
How can we be more intentional? I guess for me, that's what I would when I was describing what we do, I could be doing it for anybody in the sector. The bottom line being that we really want to move the sector forward for anybody who is working in this sector. But for a young person like yourself, or any young person that is trying to take this sector seriously, what type of intentionality would you like to see coming from not just AGRA, from an institution like AGRA? And having worked with Kala and seen some of the bureaucrats you're working with, what type of intentionality would you like to see from AGRA, from government, that would make you really feel like you're not in this alone, you're not struggling on your own?
What I would love to see is engagement. When youths are engaged in forums, in discussions, and youths out here are very innovative. And if we can have that forum where we can be mentored. Sometimes you can have so many ideas, but without mentorship, you tend not to move forward. If you can have forums for mentorship and for gaining knowledge of opportunities that are available, I think institutions can move with a lot of intention and create more impact.
You keep bringing up knowledge. Knowledge. And maybe we tend to agree. Maybe there's a gap there. And from where you sit as a young woman, trying to get this, and from your experience, what is the best way to get this knowledge to you? Because we can say we are doing it as AGRA, we can say we're doing it as government, but are we? And what is the best way to get to the youth? And as Dr. Kalibata started by saying, and the intrigue there was, you got into agriculture, but many of us think that it's just something you're going with a hoe and digging. But what is that knowledge? How do we get the knowledge that this is great, is you can get a livelihood for it? What is the best way to engage the youth?
I think when I say knowledge, and I keep on repeating knowledge, is freedom, is most people, especially in the rural areas, we've gone to school. We've done the basic primary school, but we don't have knowledge in terms of the resources that are available out there. I can give an example with the financial institutions. Financial institution will curate products, and they will say we have 100 billion dedicated to agriculture, and farmers especially women, do not even know what being bankable mean. They do not know they need to have an account.
Yeah.
They do not need this. They do not even know that there's this product that is available for them.
Yes.
So knowledge is really getting to the grassroots and getting to the rural areas, to the farmers that are down there, to tell them that these resources are available. And you can even co-create with the banks.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it is any consolation, even governments are struggling with that. with being able to have, I can't tell you how many meetings I go to, and especially with this climate change thing.
Yeah.
And you ask people, so why aren't we getting any adaptation financing? Why isn't any African country getting any financing in mitigation? Why aren't we moving forward? Why aren't we seeing more countries being funded? The answer I always get is we do not have bankable projects. So I'm like, really? Out of 55 countries, we really do not have countries that are bringing forward bankable proposals. So the whole idea of trying to understand knowledge and to break down all this knowledge so that it becomes available and in ways it can be used by people that need to use it, irrespective of whether it's a young person, a woman trying to access financing in the agricultural sector, a government trying to access climate financing. Those challenges will always be there. I think, like you challenging us to do, I think just being able to be very intentional when opportunities like that present themselves, to be intentional around the type of programs we put in place that to influence access. Like I said, engage banks, but it's not enough to engage banks. Support them to come up with the right products as well. Just like on climate finance, we probably need to support countries to come up with the right products that make them viable as proposals so that they can access funding. So I take the challenge. I completely agree.
Yeah. Throw another challenge as an opportunity. She's here. No, but seriously, anything else that you think we can, or rather?
But can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Jean, do you farm?
I do.
So tell us about you. Jean is in charge of communications at AGRA. So we sit here and we talk about farming and agriculture as if it is meant for certain types of people.
Yeah.
I farm.
Yeah.
When I'm not here, when I'm on leave, I farm.
Yeah.
I farm in two ways. I actually 100% believe in having the right environment in terms of nature, having the right environment. Even if I had one space, I get offended by seeing concrete around me. It really offends me.
Concrete jungles.
Yeah, it really offends me. So I make sure that if there's any space I can plant a tree, something that is living, I do. So that's my way of farming. My second way of farming is I actually believe in the agricultural sector and what it does. So yes, I know it's tough because I do it.
It's very tough.
I know it's tough because I do it. I can't tell you how many times I've produced so many tomatoes from greenhouses, and then you realize the market wasn't ready for those tomatoes, and you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I grow mangoes, and when they're ready, it's like the market doesn't want them because every other farmer has mangoes. So the need is the opportunity. The challenge becomes the opportunity. Maybe I shouldn't be growing mangoes and competing with farmers in growing mangoes. Maybe I should be adding value to mangoes so that farmers have a market, because I understand
then you can aggregate
that
them.
need. Maybe I should be an aggregator. So I have a lot to learn. So learning from you now.
Yeah.
But Jane, what do you do?
I'm the one who's asking the questions today.
You tell us your challenges.
No, but to be honest, mine is more on the animals, the livestock bit
That's
of it.
good. That's farming too.
I have tried a lot, but the ones that have worked, a bit of dairy and pig farming, gotten burnt very, very many times. But just like you, there was a Willy Kimani somewhere. Yes. In terms of getting me the right technologies, the how-tos, especially when it comes to the pigs. how to prepare their styes, how to clean their styes, and then of course the ready market. I think sometimes the mistake, I don't know, it's a mistake, but challenge is you do something and then you go and look for someone to buy.
Yeah.
Instead of, okay, I'm going to produce this and this by this and this time, and you contract and then you get it. Burnt quite a number of times, but once for 2 years, lost a lot of money. But now it's bringing something. The milk, not so much. I donate the milk to people who need it. I don't sell it, but it is working. But I'm not answering any more questions today. But yes, I think.
But I think for me, what I take from you is being burnt several times in the agriculture sector.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are so many young people out there who would say, "Oh, I've tried this and I've gotten burnt." My own experience of being burnt, and I have several, is there were a number of reasons that caused that. Either the market wasn't ready, right? So sometimes the market is just not ready for that, meaning you're all producing tomatoes at the same time and you only have such a small market to supply. So that was one. Number two, because we do not irrigate, we all produce at the same time. So maybe if we thought about different production systems, if we thought about year-round production, maybe we would. If we thought about off-season production, so all of us depend on rains and we don't do off-season production. So there's nobody that is actually taking advantage of that market in between. Number three, we don't add value. So we all do the same thing, which is the very, very, very downstream, easy to do part, if I might call it that, the production side. But on the upstream side, on the other side, in terms of really making sure that what we are producing, it takes so many tomatoes to do a can of ketchup, right?
Yeah.
So many tomatoes. Just imagine that. Could consume all the tomatoes that the farmers are producing. But we don't do that, or there are very few investments in that area. So I think that opportunities are there. The last one is innovation. I just think that one of the things we need to really pay attention to, and which I would encourage young people to do, because every time we push ourselves, we come up with new solutions and answers to our problems. If we can innovate around what we do well, and what we do well is African foods. There are so many African foods that we don't take to the market because they still look. I was in a country recently and I asked for an African drink and they brought something that looked like muddy water. It tasted good because I did taste it out of politeness. But why did I have to taste it out of politeness, right? Yeah. It tasted good. But I was still saying, okay, if nobody has died because they are drinking it, it must be okay. So why would we put ourselves and our market in that type of environment? And I do feel like our young people have an answer to how we innovate around African food, how we take it from that food that looks ugly to the food that actually can be put on the table and people feel comfortable with it. So I do feel like that's a space that is not exploited. And that's something that even as AGRA we should challenge ourselves to get more into.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think in we're talking before, you mentioned how you're innovating quite a bit at your business.
Yes, okay. At my business, we do add value for some of our clients, as our business model is we get first contract and then we work backwards. Yeah. And some of our clients, like Unilever, require us to add value to the products that we are supplying them. That is the herbs. They need them crushed, they need them dried and powdered.
What do you supply them?
Herbs. We do, we do some spices. We do turmeric and rosemary to them.
So tell me a little bit about that. How did you get into that?
I got into a program. Also, it's partnership. I got into a program with Unilever. And the program was around women empowerment, and they were taking, they wanted local entrepreneurs to be able to supply them. Because as we know, also getting products from outside has become very hard. So they are looking at sustainability. That's how I got into that. Yes, and as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest challenge is being able to set up that entire process. So most of the process we outsource, or we are not yet up to that par that they would want us to be.
Yeah.
So that is one of the biggest challenge Sulma Whole Foods is currently facing. We are in that stage of scaling and starting to process.
Yeah.
Yes.
But your products are being bought.
Our products are being bought. We are doing it at a smaller scale currently, but yes, we are hoping to grow and be also supplying other companies like Nestle and even supply Unilever at larger scale.
Yeah, I think though you undersold yourself, Aisha, and as you talk more, I mean you
should have told me that. With I am supplying
I'm supplying Naivas. So it begs the question. I mean, you're not only in Nairobi, where you have branched out, you have grown. You tell us more about that, because you're doing spices and you're doing
when we
other things.
We started with onions. Onions was what got me into the business, and as time went, the business grew, and we moved from Laikipia. We started aggregating farmers in Kajiado, Baringo, Bomet, and Kisumu.
Wow.
And we are in different value chains. We are in rice, the herbs value chain, and castor. For the onions, I moved a bit back from it where I started, but I'm hoping to go back there.
Okay, great. I think the producers are signaling that we're almost up for time.
Yes.
But before we go, I'll just ask for some parting shots. Anything else that you want to say? What you want people to remember? And if you don't mind, Dr. Kalibata, I'll start with you.
What I really took from talking to you, Aisha, is what you expressed as need. Again, going back to the whole question around need, that engagement and understanding where young people are at is probably what you see as one of the most important things. Again, it's true, because we can't support people if we don't understand what they're dealing with. So I think we need to do more of that, and we'll do more of that. But also, for the young people that are listening to us, just your story is fascinating in its own way, because you started with nothing from a financial perspective. It was not so much about, I need money to go get started. Yes, it was the idea. You started with an idea and boldness, just being able to say, you know what? These people must need food. Let me go and talk to them. And then educating yourself about what is possible. I'm sure you got to know about Unilever, not because Unilever has a huge program out there looking for, no, but because you educated yourself around what would make a difference. And there are a number of companies out there that are looking for people like you. And there will be many more like that. So I think for me, those are really, really critical elements of how young people can engage in this program. We will continue running this program, and what we would love to do is to understand what else it is that we are not doing, that we need to do better, and how else can we support young people? Because again, it's not about the financing. I think we need to make this about the ideas that make a difference. This is the program that is going to be discussing the ideas that make a difference for young people. And I'm dying for those ideas, because it's those that can really put us on the right path in terms of how we can support you, how we can empower you, how we can use the networks we have to move you forward. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Would you like to speak to that, or you can come out and say something that you want us to remember out of this?
I can say something I would want the youth out there to take is opportunities are out here.
Yeah.
And I also want to commend AGRA and the big institutions for giving opportunities. Not only AGRA, Unilever, WFP, and banks, financial institutions, for having that program to nurture young people, and to tell also young people to look out for these programs. These programs are and platforms like even Value for Her Connect. These are platforms that people can get more opportunities and grow as entrepreneurs.
Okay. So maybe we conclude on this. If you're a young person out there, we also have the we have the Africa Food Systems Forum coming up, right? So if you're a young person out there looking for opportunities, the Africa Food Systems Forum is coming up. So if you're a young person out there, look for WIRE, the Young Women Agripreneurs Award that is out there, that gets awarded every year at the Africa Food Systems Forum. You can look at the Pitch AgriHack. This is where those young people that are working on technologies and AI and stuff like that in ag space, that's there for you too, to come and look at and present your ideas in ways that can be transformative. Look at the go-getters. The go-getters is the the youth in business. The youth in business of agriculture, they also really have an opportunity to get to be profiled and have opportunities to be funded and put their ideas forward. And just be there at the AGRA,
Africa Food Systems Forum.
Just show up at the Africa Food Systems Forum and be part of the Young People's Village that is started being set up last year in Tanzania and is going to continue to being set up. Be sure to attend the Youth Town Hall, where you definitely will meet people that are advancing the youth cause, from heads of state to businesses and business leaders, so that you can have your ideas shared. So let's use this opportunity and this platform to engage. You challenged us, Aisha. Engagement is the bottom line. So let's use this opportunity to engage and bring out the best in the young people that are trying to work in the agriculture sector. So we look forward to seeing you there.
I'm looking forward to be there too.
We will ensure you're there. Okay, and there you have it. We've had great conversations about youth engaging in agriculture. There are opportunities out there, as we've heard from Aisha. She has made it, she's making it, she's scaling up. Believe in yourself, connect the dots, as Dr. Kalibata said. Engage. Please meet us at Africa Food Systems Forum in September 2nd to the 6th. There are many activities there that you can participate in. There are many competitions that run year through with AGRA and other organizations that encourage youth to be part of this ecosystem. Thank you very much. And that's another episode of Banter with Kalibata.
So did you hear that? This is the Kalibanter of ideas from young people. See you next time.